We are live.
How are we doing today? It is Wednesday, November 9th,
Yeah. Okay.
2022.
Going with that.
No, that was it. It is a beautiful day outside. The moon is shining brightly.
A little cold.
Little chilly, but it's still like 45 or something. I don't know. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
53.
Anyway, here we are. We're in Buffalo. It's gorgeous out. Moon is shining. How's your week?
It was all right. It was
Yeah,
good.
it was
week.
good.
Yeah.
Good week. ZJ, how about you? How was your week?
Like last week,
Mhm.
or like my Monday and Tuesday so far of this week.
Whatever you want to quantify.
Okay.
How have your last 2 weeks been since we've seen you?
Okay. All right. So, we went to the Sabres game the other night, which was just incredible, or on Wednesday of last week. Since then, not so much, great stuff from the Sabres, but yeah. And then a Bills loss, and I was a little bit upset Sunday night till Monday. Been worried about the Josh thing for 3 days. But yeah, good.
It's good. Good. So what's going on in the sports world? Anything important?
Mm-mm.
No?
There is a game on Sunday, but that's
There was a game.
There was a game and there is a game.
Yes.
But that is the only thing that Bills fans care about. So
It is.
Yeah.
So elbows,
Ukles.
They are.
I mean, okay. So getting serious now.
All right.
They did dodge a bullet with this. I mean, this could have been a lot worse. And I mean, I think the one thing that I made me hold out hope was, one, it wasn't immediate, because if it was like, I think if he tore it, the UCL, or if it was like a bunch of ligaments, it would have been an immediate thing, or we would have known on Monday when they said
he was
we
going
known.
like this, like ow.
Well, we knew his
pain.
elbow was hurting. We knew he was in pain, but we didn't know the exact extent. But I'm saying if it was like he was going to be out for the rest of the year or something like that, if it was like a very significant injury, I feel like it would have just been right away. Like it would have been within that 24 hours and we would have known, or at least would have been leaked. I mean, he's Josh Allen. You know what I mean? It's not. He's going to be one of the players that
he was asked if he had done any throwing, right? And
McDermott was asked what
McDermott
Josh
was
was
asked,
doing, and he said candy. He said Josh has been throwing candy.
Oh.
Well, that'll help.
I'll get you somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not fully as upbeat about it as you are, in that I think we're fully out of the woods yet. I mean, I guess continuing to see, major news outlets, major people that I feel are legitimate, saying that it's not major, and that kind of stuff is somewhat reassuring. But the vagueness of how McDermott has handled it, I mean, I don't know if it's a Bill Belichick esque move that he's doing by not revealing, maybe he's fine, and Belichick was always well known for just not really giving out injury information and just kind of keeping teams guessing. And so maybe that's the move here. But I would hope. But my other thing is okay, well, wouldn't he want to reassure the fans and let everybody know, hey, yeah, everything's good? So I hope that everything's works out, and I hope he plays through it. I hope there's no chance of a re-injury or a more serious injury happening, because of him playing through it. That would be my biggest fear.
I can take that on. So based upon what the UCL and what they're saying it's a sprain, which is a small tear, right? So, but that's what any sprain is in any part of your body. And believe me, I have taken heat for this on Twitter about a small tear versus a sprain and what it is. So they're the same thing. And the he has like stretched, so he stretched the ligaments, right? There's a small tear there, and he's got the chance of re-injuring it based upon a couple of both reports I heard today and people I've talked to who are actual like in either in the doctory fields or rehabilitation fields said that the chance of re-injury is very small. Or like if he, I think I asked directly, if he plays through it, does that mean he can make it worse? And the answer was basically no.
Unless he has like okay, so I guess in my mind when you say that, unless he has the exact same hit to the exact same spot, right? And if it's been 3 years and he hasn't taken that hit, right, to this point, I mean, of our knowledge, right, that caused that much of a injury, that I would think that then I guess it would be small to think that it would happen again this season, or while it's still, not fully healed to the point where it would hurt. We get hurt.
What they said, they had the guy from Excelsior Orthopedics on one of the channels, and he said, there Excelsior Orthopedics are not a sponsor of Gameday716. I am just repeating what I heard on TV. These are not his exact words. Blah blah blah, etc. etc. But what he said is when a team says day to day that instead of week to week, that being day to day means like a 7 to 10 day healing process. Whereas week to week would be like the 4 to 6 weeks that they were more worried about in the beginning. But he says it heals.
He's going to be a game time decision. I mean, and if he goes out there, he's probably going to go back out there with the brace on. I mean, if I'm him, I would. Regardless of if this isn't that significant or not.
If it's not that significant, I see him playing through it regardless.
Yeah. I mean, unless
he's not going to practice all week, and then he's just going to be a game time decision.
I mean, but I feel like they've been ultra careful up to this point, and it lost them last week by sitting Poyer.
Yeah,
I think. And
you think Milano could have played or no?
No, an oblique is tough.
That's
yeah. Because I feel like Milano was a huge. Obviously, not having him was huge.
Yeah. But I think Poyer probably could have played. It seemed like they were resting him to be careful, and they just think they're the Bills who were playing the Jets, and I think the Jets they got the mindset and had the mindset that that's how it was gonna be, and that Wilson sucks, and it turned into what Noah just said, a trap game, and so I that's kind of what I see out of it.
Also, though, I mean, credit to the Jets defense.
Defense was phenomenal.
Defense, hats off to you. Good job.
I think that as far as that game specifically, I remember the Green Bay game a week before, and I remember saying, and I think I said it on here or in the group chat or whatever, but I said something along the lines of like, if he makes those mistakes again against a better team, you know what I mean? Like those late interceptions or whatever that he had against Green Bay in the red zone, whatever. And I remember saying to myself, if he does that again against a better team, they'll lose that game with, you know what I mean? A team that can score or at least get downfield, whatever. And to me, I know that wasn't necessarily at the end of the game. It was at the end of the third. I think there was about 5 minutes left when we got the Bond fumble, and then he threw the pick right back.
Right.
And they went down. Did they get a touchdown off of that? And that made it 2017, and then we tied it.
Yeah.
And then I think they got the final field goal at the end. There was no turnovers or anything like that that caused. I think we just went 3 and out one of the last drives. They got the field goal. And so my point is just that, again, you know what I mean? Like that, those late mistakes, that forcing the ball, doing too much with the ball, or Josh doing too much, in general, caused that to happen. And, so I just, again, moving forward, I just think, I mean, that tweet, the bottom after the one you posted where the guy was just like, I think it'll be better for him to reset anyways and kind of, get back on the page with his receivers, because it just seems like they're miscommunicating or missing each other a little bit out there, and you could see that starting to happen against Green Bay. Unfortunately, Green Bay was just not a good enough team to be able to make us pay for it, and the Jets I still don't think are that team, but at the same time, we have to, and I know we've talked about this before, but we are those guys in the league. What the Chiefs has been for the past 3 years is what we are now. So when teams come into playoffs,
not now.
Well, prior to the Jets game, I guess, and when teams come into playoffs, we are that team. We're the top guy. They really, that is their Super Bowl to them. You know what I'm saying? Like same with the other game we lost,
Miami.
Yeah, and so they just both came out of their minds. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that'll happen the second game for either one of those teams, specifically. But, we have to remember that. Yeah, well, that too. And we have to remember that, you know what I mean? Like we are that, and that's how everybody's going to look at us. You know what I mean? And I think they know that, but at the same time, it just seems as though we are almost putting things like with the Poyer sitting and stuff like that. I just feel as though we're almost putting guys out.
Well, I mean, that was just some of my thoughts. I mean, there's a lot of analysis on what we could talk about, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, like you said, his communication with his receivers has been lacking. I think Dorsey has been predictable, way more predictable than Dable, and a lot less experimental. Mm-hmm. I still want to see 2 tight end sets, and I haven't seen them. I mean, they've been playing Gilliam a lot, but I mean, you haven't seen him line up even at tight end just to have that.
I'll add another
extra guy up front. Yeah,
I'll add another piece into here too, and this is something that I think we talked about last year, and we've actually, I think you've talked about with this. We've talked, and people have just talked about with this Bills team every single year, is they've never been in this position before. And I know that sounds like it's a cop out and it is stupid, but like we also forget, like this is Beans and McDermott's first time here, like being at this top, being the team that everybody wants to target, because that was the Chiefs. Now it is us. Yeah. It's us. And like, no matter like what happens right now, we are still, we're still a Super Bowl favorite. We're still a Super Bowl contender. I mean, when we have everyone healthy, and especially with Trey coming back, we've shown, first of all, that when everyone's healthy, we can win without Trey. And then with Trey adding to that, it takes us up to another level. It's just that, but we haven't been healthy. But the other part of that is this is going to be a learning curve for them to figure out how to go through this process. And Dorsey to me is a different conversation, because that to me is just first year coordinator.
No, I agree. I was just saying that he hasn't been experimental. He hasn't done a whole lot. And the more film you get on a guy, the easier it is to start learning their tendencies, right?
Yeah.
And so Dorsey needs to get out of some of his tendencies and get a little creative. Yeah, it's a first year coach thing, but it's a first year coach on what you just said, a Super Bowl contender, a team who was everyone's favorite going into the season. And, like that's a huge, I guess to your point, it's a huge burden to carry, but you got to carry it. I mean, you got to talk and walk the walk and do the jive,
and they just haven't done it consistently. But again, to me, that comes, I mean, immature is going to be the wrong word, but that again comes with the immaturity of this team. I mean, this team is mature and knows what it takes to win, but they don't know like the true final, like true. I don't think
How to
they
close?
know. Yeah, I don't think they truly know their final form. I guess
Isn't
like
that what
sounds
Von Miller's
stupid.
for?
Yes, but I still but if Greg Rousseau's out of the game, Von kind of disappears, and
That's a
the rest
problem.
of the line kind of disappears. And I think again that comes with what I've been saying is that this team needs to figure out who they are and that they're good. Get back to where you were at the beginning of the season, and I think that comes with getting everyone healthy and getting that group back together. And I think once that happens, you just got to start winning.
Well, but if you're saying that they need to find out who they are, you're talking an identity crisis, identity problem. And
I think Josh Allen has an identity problem right now, and I think it's hurting the rest of the team because I think the rest of the team looks to him. I mean, he's Josh. So I think right now, these past couple games, I mean, he's been making 2018 Josh plays. Like that one pick where he was throwing to Knox. What the heck did he see?
Knox was open.
Knox was open, but he was like he thought he was going to go underneath.
Underthrew it. Yeah,
he said he thought Knox was going to go underneath and he was going to go over the top. But like to me, that isn't a mistake Josh makes. Like Josh should just be like, oh, my receiver's doing this. Oh, okay, I know what he's going to do. Like not. I mean, he throws wide receivers open, but he also knows like, oh, they're going to go up. They're going to make the right play. Oh, I got to do this. Like he's too in his head. And like it feels like he's like down on himself or something. And I don't know. I don't know if the pressure's starting to get to him. I mean,
pressure in week 8 or 9 or whatever it is.
Every single week,
gonna ramp up.
Everyone talks
that
about is that
everybody
Josh
thinks
Allen
he
is
can
the MVP.
Yeah.
That's it. And that he's going to lead this team to a Super Bowl.
Well,
and
now
that
the pressure's
if there's
off.
anything else,
I think if that is the case and you're talking about pressure right now,
he's never been in this situation.
Right,
He's always been the guy, the underdog.
No,
he's never been the one to get that.
I agree.
That like LeBron James-esque type pressure where it's like you win, you make teams above.
What were you saying, CJ?
I was just gonna say that, while I do think that there is some maybe confidence issues, and that happens during seasons, and I think some players can come in and out of that and play well. I worry that if it truly is like it's too much for him, then that worries me like moving forward and like for the rest of his career. Like, I mean, that's me, you know what I mean? Like when I hear that, you know what I mean? Like, so I hear you and I said it also that they've been on this pedestal, this year specifically, like no other year. Like KC has always been that team. KC lost Hill. It was immediately the Bills were that team. You know what I mean? And that is a different place. And I think he is starting to think to himself, hey, I'm not doing, what I want to do or what, my full potential is. And that might mess with his confidence a little bit where he's kind of rethinking things, like overthinking something in the pocket, But again, I hope that's something that like some players can come in and out of or find that again and, come back. If he's totally like, this is too much for me, I can't handle this, you know what I mean? Like that would seriously worry me. Which I don't think that's what you're saying,
like that.
But
yeah, no, I mean, I don't think he's like going to be like, I'm hanging him up or anything. But like, I think this is Sugar Rush Josh. This is this Josh that we're seeing right now. No. I'm gonna explain. This is the Sugar Rush Josh from 2018, but flipped around. Where instead of he's thinking, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to go, come on, I got to do this. He's like, oh, I can't make the turnover, I can't make the bad play, I can't make the bad throw, I have to be perfect. And I think that that's what he thinks. And I think that that's where he's at right now. And I think that that's why he's struggling. And I think him being, and he's young. So, I mean, to me, I think that this just will come with working through it and him figuring and him just getting that confidence back and being like, I'm Josh. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Because I feel like this year he does care what people think for some reason, where he's never been like that before.
Yeah, I think it needs to get back to like you're the Wyoming kid that nobody thought would get anywhere. You know what I mean? I think I think that's the mind state he needs to have. And I don't like to get too much into like this aspect because it's so like you just don't know really what he thinks and you don't want to speculate on, you know what I mean? Because it just has no real basis in maybe what's going on. But at the same time, you definitely want his mentality to be like on that Wyoming kid that nobody thought, as opposed to, oh yeah, we're expected to win, we'll win. You know what I mean? Type attitude. So I get what you're saying.
What do you think Mahomes is? Like,
I think Mahomes is back to that. I lost Hill. Everybody thought that without Hill, I would be nothing. So let me show everybody what I can do.
But he's also won before. And I think when you win, there just comes a confidence.
Yeah, that too.
Because you've been there before, you know what it takes. And you know what it takes. Yeah, you know what it takes. The Bills don't. Josh hasn't won anything, but everybody's crowning him like he has. The Bills haven't won anything, but everybody's crowning them like they did. And I don't think I just think it's just Josh, and then it's just the rest of the team is just following. Because it's Josh. He's the leader. I mean, he's the guy. He's the one that everybody looks to. But I mean, I agree with CJ. It's just speculation. It's just based off the way he's playing. He just doesn't look confident. That's just the bottom line, is that he just doesn't look confident.
I mean, he did run for 80-something yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay, he doesn't look confident in the pocket. He doesn't look confident like in his throws.
I mean, there's been so much criticism against everybody this week, whether it's been the coaches to the offense to not being not being good enough to build an offensive line that protects Josh, to, not having a good enough running back, to how come we don't have enough depth as safeties, to, I mean, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, Brenda put up a post that says she worries that Josh's problem is pain. When a person is in pain, he becomes hesitant.
I think that definitely plays a part in it.
Well, but you have to imply that he has been in pain since before the second last throw of that game, though.
Right, that was my thought. I mean, and everyone gets aches and pains and hurts after football games, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's part of the game. So, like, I think exactly what CJ just said. You have to be implying that. Not that they were covering up an injury, but that he was in pain before.
I mean, you could make the case that
because these problems have happened
at least achy
for 3 games. Green Bay, we've seen it, right? We've seen it coming. Where I'm sorry to cut you off.
Second half of Green Bay,
right? No. I'm just saying, like, but that again, we see like when those mistakes start, like we said it. If that happens with a better team, it's not going to end up well. You know what I mean? And I think that we've seen that coming. No, I'm going to let you say what you had to say. Please try to remember it, because Todd had
you're fine. I cut you off earlier, so
Todd had made me something that I just wanted to say real quick. I'm sorry. Just the fact that we've been thinking about him running and getting hurt running, and I just thought it was very interesting that he got hurt in the pocket. And like when I thought of him being hurt, I thought of him being hurt running. And we've been saying,
and I said that he's not going to get hurt running.
And then not also that, and then the Singletary thing you made me think of too is just how we've been kind of advocating for a stronger run game. You know what I mean? Somebody to take something off of Josh. You know what I mean? So that at all wasn't put on him. And I think again we're back to that point where we're seeing there's a need for that again. So that was my 2 points, and I'm good.
I also have 2 points. I'm going to go back to your offensive line thing. The offensive line has been very up and down this year, outside of like Morse and Saffold, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know you're not specifically happy with Dawkins, but
he's playing
makes a lot of good.
He's up there, but he's not at the. He hasn't been playing at that same level to me as Morse and Saffold.
Okay. I mean, people have been saying they need a mauler at center, and Morse isn't it.
That's so not true though, because when he pulls on those runs, he's trained. He runs guys
If you're
over.
looking for a mauler at center, you're looking to redesign the entire offense.
Yeah.
That's my,
because that's a slow center.
Because you're asking for a guy to move straight forward and just
be big,
and clean out, yeah, and be a monster like that, where their whole game is pulling guards and pulling centers, and like that's not, I mean, they pull if they run to one side or the other, and then, like you said, running behind Saffold has been easy for everyone this year.
Yeah.
That's where they run, is behind Morrison Saffold. And
but I think then the issue that arises from that is going back to what you were saying about Dorsey being predictable, is that it's been completely obvious where the run's going to go and that kind of stuff. But on top of that, though, Devin Singletary has still had success, and Devin Singletary, to me, has also shown that he can at least take on a workload. He's not going to get 150 to 200 yards a game, but he can at least take 25 carries and go 85 yards with them.
Is that what we want to do? We want to give Singletary. I mean, we have talked about this ad nauseum, right? And I'm sure other podcasts have too. Do we want to take the ball out of Josh's hands and give Singletary 25 carries?
I'll say this. I don't think we need to move to Nyheim Hines without at least the thought that the ball is going to be out of Josh's hands a little bit more.
I think he made the move for Hines because he doesn't like McKenzie in the slot.
Well, you didn't use him in the last game.
No, well, yeah, he's got to learn
for 9 snaps.
still.
But
yeah,
to finish my point on the offensive line is, I think starting at like the Dolphins game, in the Dolphins game, the Ravens game, the Chiefs game, and the Packers game, and definitely the Jets game, Josh has gotten wrecked sometimes. Like he's at least
by choice.
Right, and I feel the same way. Like, I feel like it's because he's looking for something else. Like, he's not taking the easy thing. He's looking for something else, and that's why he's in the pocket too long or he's getting hit. But that's me.
But he's also I just feel like, yes, I agree with that. Like, he's taken hits because he's waited too long or he's trying to look downfield for too long. But like, even when I think when he's gotten the ball out faster, like, I feel like he isn't getting calls, which is Homer bias, but whatever. But like, I do feel like he isn't getting calls. I feel like he is getting hit. He's at least getting shoved to the ground. I feel like after every single freaking throw in these games. And
there's a LeBron James problem. It's like the third time we brought up LeBron, but there's a LeBron James problem with Josh, because like when LeBron James drives down the lane, right,
he never gets a foul.
He's hacked the entire way. But he's fouled every single time, but they can't call it. They can't figure out what's an actual foul against LeBron and what's not, because he's so differently built than anyone else. And it's the same problem with Josh. He's so different and athletic and all of that stuff that they can't figure out what's actual pass interference and what isn't. And the fact that Josh has been over dramatizing,
it's
not pass interference, roughing
but
the
they
passer.
Also can't figure out pass interference either. But.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But the fact that Josh has been being overly dramatic at points about this isn't helping his case. When you've seen the clips of him, where he doesn't get pushed and then he flops, and that kind of thing. And like, it's like, just be Josh. Like, you don't have to like do that stuff. You don't have to overthink on that end. Like, I would much rather you overthink trying to scan the field. Use your brain power for that. You know what I mean? And like, from that standpoint, just, I guess it goes back to what we always say, and this may end up being on one of our banners, is just let Josh be Josh.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because that's what they have to do. I mean, we know how good he is. Everyone knows how good he is. And, We'll see how he plays through pain if he plays. If we don't see that, we'll get the Case Keenum revenge tour, right? And because depending on how many games he's out, Keenum was the quarterback at Minnesota and Keenum was the backup in Cleveland, and that's the next 2 games. So,
I mean,
it's a mini revenge tour for Case Keenum,
right?
But
they're both at home, so I mean,
Cleveland they could have turned into a home game.
Cleveland is at home. Oh, but you're saying if it was away?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know, and they probably would have. But I'm just saying, like, it does help though that the next 2 games are at home and he's injured. Because I mean, if
but the stats show he doesn't play better at home. They show he plays better on the road. I mean, the fact that everyone's
I feel like though
out,
that's biased because most of those primetime games have been on the road, and he plays exceptionally well in primetime games.
I just want him back for Thanksgiving. That's all I can think about in my head. Like,
because that'll be a boring Thanksgiving,
right? Right, with Keenum throwing
and then Jared Goff on the other side,
garbage, right, and Goff on the other side. Like, I don't know.
Okay, well,
is Dan Campbell in trouble?
I don't know. Like what? Like I feel like Detroit gets good, and then they don't, and then Detroit's just like, shucks, and then they don't really do anything about it until like.
That's kind of been
fans
the Bills
are outside.
Detroit and the Bills have very similar MOs as far as pretty good fans and pretty sucky ownership, at least under Wilson. I think they have obviously better ownership under the Pagulas, but that's just my opinion. Other people don't seem to have that either. So I don't know. I was just asking about Campbell. Yeah. Is there anything else we want to hit on with the Jets? Like Zach Wilson kind of played well, kind of, sort of.
He did enough to get them to win. So, yeah, whatever. Fine.
All right. That works.
I mean, that's what it was. I mean, he only threw for 154 yards, but he got the win. I mean, they couldn't cover
and most Wilson. Of them was to Wilson, right?
He had 8 receptions for 92 yards. So
great. At least Carter got me some fantasy points. So where are we at here? Do we want to CJ, we never got your takes actually because you were out on the Hines trade and the Marlowe trade.
I'm happy about Marlowe. Did anybody see that Abrams was released today?
He Green Bay claimed him off of waivers.
Oh, okay. I figured he wouldn't claim clear waivers because he was only owed like $1 million or something stupid. So I figured whoever had a chance would tip him.
I guess like Green Bay's safety coach used to be Las Vegas's.
Oh, okay. So I was interested in him, but never mind. Anyways,
that would have been nice to add another safety. I mean, Jaquan Johnson sucks.
Yeah.
He sucks, Noah. I'm sorry. I know he's your favorite player, but
Hines trade. I was surprised that, like, for whatever reason, I had felt like Cooks had finally started to come on in the past 2 weeks before that. Yeah. So I was a little bit interested as to why they did it. And then, like, obviously the first game Cooks outcarried him and caught more balls than him. So right. I think they'll try to get him more involved. I mean, then you read like these stats about returning and his receiving averages and stuff like that. And I like that. And obviously, and I think that'll help, that'll do something for us. So yeah,
with the returning, it was the most comfortable I felt with the punt returner.
Yeah.
In a very long time.
I agree. I think he was brought in definitely for returning after seeing how well he did. But I also think, like, we talked about this before, just give Josh as many weapons as humanly possible. Like, whatever. Like, figure out some way to, like, I feel like they gotta let Hines go. I mean, you brought Hines in to do the same type of stuff of what he did in Indy.
1 week.
No, I know.
Okay.
I understand that. But I think,
like, if you're mad they didn't do more with Hines last week, then just it was,
I think at best he's an upgrade to Cook in the fact that his knowledge of the game and being in certain situations that Cook wouldn't understand. Like, a big 3rd and 15, 2 minutes left. And I'd say Hines has been there before or made that play. You know what I'm saying? And like, you want that kind of guy catching a ball on a side and just making a couple people miss and getting a huge first down. Something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I see him being valuable,
I just wish.
I think they're going to use him all over the place.
I agree, but I just wish against the Jets, like when they were struggling, I wish they would have just tried it. Just put him out there and
I think that's what they did
happened.
with Cook, though. Like, they threw him out there a couple times, and I was like, oh, he's out there. Oh, he's
but I
play.
felt like every single time Cook went out there, it was one play, and he was immediately off the field. I'm saying with Hines, like, try to put him in the slot. Try to put him next to Josh. Like, let him run.
3 days with the playbook.
I understand
the
that.
only thing that they were going to do with Hines against the Jets were returns, obviously, and if they were going to do anything with him on offense, it was, go run a quick pass, a short pass in the flat,
Yeah, you brought him in here to do the same type of stuff.
If they don't utilize him against the Vikings, then we have a different issue, I think.
I understand why they didn't do it. But I was just saying that during the game, like going into the game, if I wasn't really thinking that they would use Hines, I was thinking probably, returner, whatever. But when that offense started to struggle and Josh started to struggle, I just wish they would have just been like, okay, let's see what happens.
Well, I guess that's where my 2 tight end set comes in. Like, I would have liked to see that. Like, instead of putting Gilliam in the fullback spot, put him at the end of the line and just see what happens. But you're putting Bobby Hart there. And then Quesenberry goes down and Bobby Hart's your right tackle.
Yay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and again, that's a problem. We know Bobby Hart is a problem. And I don't know what he has photos on being like, that's the only way he's still on this team. I
don't know. But hey, Ike was on the field.
Yeah,
today.
Bacher played today, so that's good. Yeah, he practiced but he's not. They didn't pull him off the PUP list yet.
I don't think they can. I thought you had to wait until week 10.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant all season.
Oh no.
I'm like, no. I know they can pull him off at some point, but yeah, it's good to see Bacher out there.
Yeah.
He was important, and if he has to fill in for Bates, or if Saffold goes down, they got nothing now.
All right, I'm getting depressed. So,
all right, well, let's talk about the Vikings then.
This is depressing.
The 7-1 Vikings.
Well, okay, I'll say this. I mean, are there things? I mean, okay, this is going to sound dumb, but how hopeful are we right now? I mean, we're still in first place. The Jets are a half game back.
I'm fine.
I mean, are we how are you, CJ?
I think if Josh plays, then we win for sure. I just think that, again, there's always the correction, you know what I mean? Like there's always, and we've seen it, we lose a game and then we come out strong, you know what I mean? And so I'm of that where we're going to correct the mistakes we made in the Jets, you know what I mean? Maybe it was eye-opening and whatever. And, I have confidence that if Josh plays, we'll be able to win. If Josh doesn't play, I think we probably lose.
I don't like that Lewis was in a red jersey today. Not Lewis. Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Do we know what's wrong with him?
No.
So even if Trey comes back, we still have a problem.
Well, he's not coming back this game, I think, still.
Not what I heard from McDermott or the way it sounded.
He said that, okay. But he said that there's been no setback.
His comments about.
No, there's been no setback. I was like,
but he's day to day. But he's probably not going to play this week.
Okay.
So,
well, at least we'll have someone good covering Jefferson. I mean, maybe they'll just stick Elam on him and just say, "Go get smoked," you know.
Tehran. I think this might be the game where you tell Tehran beat the crap out of Jefferson.
He's a nickel, though.
But I think
Jefferson a slot? He's not a slot receiver. He's an outside receiver.
Thielen's their slot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna. He targets Jefferson more than he does Thielen, even though Jefferson hasn't been scoring touchdowns the last couple games. But to me, Jefferson's their number one. I don't know. I think
Jefferson is their number one by far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thielen's not even really as involved anymore.
No.
Nor do I think he has the capabilities he had 4 or 5 years ago.
Pre-injury last year, even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thielen's questionable anyway.
Oh.
But they just got their new shiny tight end who had 9 catches for 80 yards.
Good. Yep. But I just think, again, look at what we've done all year. I think we're 3rd against pass. I know, I was looking at fantasy rankings and we were 3rd against for quarterbacks. We averaged, I think, 11 points a game for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And, if you can keep Cousins from getting in a rhythm or making them big plays, I think you can shut them down. You know what I mean? I think they can, if their passing game's not moving, I haven't seen Cook be the breakaway game-changing back that he was, prior years. This year.
Or Madison.
Yeah.
You guys know we're holding opponents to 14.8 points per game.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. It's 11 points on a fantasy perspective. They score 11 points a game, and I play Kirk Cousins in 2 leagues, and I'm so happy about it. So I think that I really don't think from an offensive standpoint they will do well. But again, if it's Josh, I'm totally comfortable with it. If it's Keenum, he might give them too many opportunities to do something.
Yeah.
Or we come up, blow the doors off them. 7 points first drive, continue to stop them, score.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I'm definitely going to be more nervous if it's Keenum, obviously. I agree. I think if it's Josh, even if he's limited a little bit, I still think they can get it done. I mean, I feel like the Vikings, when you see about them, they've been carried mostly by their offense.
No, their defense is good.
No, their defense has been probably top 5.
Oh, okay.
I mean, their offense is mediocre. You know what I mean? Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins.
Right.
Jefferson has definitely taken his first 2 weeks of the season where he was on fire, and he definitely cooled off. I want to say
only slightly though.
He only has 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Well, over the past 3 total?
The season. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Huh.
Yeah, and I think 3. One of them came last week, I think. Wow, I mean, are you sure about that? Justin Jefferson only has 3 touchdowns?
That's what ESPN says.
Only had 3 last game. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns. 59 receptions,
yeah, I see
84 targets, 867 yards.
Yeah, he's almost at 1,000 yards. I mean,
yeah,
he's getting yards. He's just not scoring.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Minnesota Vikings are holding opponents to 20.1 points per game. I mean, we're averaging,
9 left. There's 7 left.
That same
a touchdown.
I feel like if Josh plays and they can just get to 25 points, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see.
4 touchdowns.
Huh?
If they can score 4 touchdowns, they'll be fine.
All right.
That's what I say.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they're averaging 27.5 points. We're averaging 27.5 points per game.
Yeah.
Minnesota's averaging 24. But yeah, I mean, look at what the Commanders did. I mean, the Commanders also, I feel like their record doesn't ever reflect how good that team actually is. And if they had like a good quarterback, I feel like they would be in a definitely better
Well,
spot.
they might get a good quarterback this year.
Cross their fingers. Not a Sam Howell. But yeah, I mean, the Commanders last week were able to just shut them down and turn that into a slugfest that Minnesota barely won. So
yeah.
I mean, if our defense is able to just limit them and get them, I think if our defense can just get them off the field, like not just let them like get in rhythm and that kind of stuff, they'll be fine. I just think get pressure on Cook, get him annoyed, you know. Maybe Von Miller can show up more than once. He played so many snaps. I mean,
he did, and part of that was Rousseau going down. Part of that is that Epinesa sucks. Yeah. He does. I'm sorry. I think he does.
Shaq Lawson, and I don't think Shaq Lawson played well either.
Well, they moved Shaq inside though, for a lot of the game.
Until Greg got hurt, I felt like he was on the outside a lot. He was swapping with Epinesa, but
okay,
just I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway, so let's get on happier topics. The Sabres.
Oh yeah, the Sabres. The
happier topic
on a 3-game losing streak.
3-game losing streak for the Sabres. Here's what I'm going to attribute the 3-game losing streak to is that they're down 3 defensemen.
That too.
That's it.
Also
3 good defensemen.
To me, the Carolina game was Carolina saying we're a cup contender
and you're a bunch of kids.
And like you're a bunch of kids. Yes. So and then I also kind of felt like they should have won that Tampa game and they let that one slip away. And I think that comes with their immaturity of not being able to close out games.
And Tampa's maturity.
And Tampa being able to do the things that Tampa does. But I will say though that they're fun. They look good. I mean, they just can't close out games, and that'll come with time.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Cross our fingers.
I mean, they're investing a lot of time in Comrie.
Yeah. Did you see, though, that they're sitting Jack Quinn for Middlestat, who has 1 point in his last...
They're just trying to get him going.
He has 1 point.
I thought Quinn played last night.
No, they sat him today. He did. But in practice today, he was the extra.
Oh, I don't care about that in practice. Whatever.
Though no, they play tomorrow. Those are probably going to be the lines. So and Casey Middlestat has like 1 point in his last
I know everyone's sick of Middlestat
in this entire season of 5-on-5 play.
Everyone's sick of Middlestat. That's fine. Everyone wants to trade him to Minnesota because they think that makes sense.
It's just be consistent. We talk about this all the time with him. He goes from making like a deke in a perfect play to then like passing the puck to a defenseman.
He's young still. It just feels like he's old because he's been here for so long. But he was another 19-year, you know. He was 19, I think, when he started here, and maybe 20 because he did spend a year at college, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, he's another one they kept on purpose because of his attitude. And I think they're just hoping he'll come around. And if he doesn't, then you have him at the trade deadline. I think you keep him around until the trade deadline.
I just don't like making Quinn the extra. I don't know. I mean,
who else would you put there?
Asplund? I don't know.
Aspen has been playing like amazing 5-on-5 hockey, like from a defensive standpoint, especially.
Well, I mean, they already said. I don't know. I feel like Quinn has been providing them offenses and been providing them chances and has looked good. I just think it's just weird that he's the one that they chose to punish. I don't know. Or
Is it
make you
punishing?
extra.
I mean, Granato doesn't.
Well, you're taking him
Granato
out of the
doesn't
lineup,
call it
though.
punishment, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess.
he just says guys are going to sit at point. You know, I mean, right now, like when I watched last night's game,
losing streak.
when I watched last night's game, there was a game last night, right?
Or 2 nights ago. Or
When I watched the previous game the Sabres played, I saw Pilot throwing pucks all over the place.
Yeah, I'm done.
From the net, at the net, wherever. He looked like Alexei Zhitnik from back in the day, like just throwing the puck wherever he wanted to throw it, and as long as it got within 10 feet of the net, he felt accomplished. And the thing with Zhitnik was he actually scored sometimes, like, and then Kel Clegg actually looks kind of good. He's been playing well with Owen Power.
And I think Casey Fitzgerald has been playing well too.
I thought he went down. I thought they have a third. Okay. No, Fitzgerald has been playing well since he's been called up, but Power has had
Joker's back, so they sent Dave Davies or whatever down.
Okay, maybe that. Yeah.
If that's what you were thinking of.
No, I don't know. Anyway, so that's a good start. So you bring back one of your right-handers, right, in Jokiharju, and then
Labushkin.
And Labushkin is out, and Samuelson is out.
No, Labushkin's back. He played against Arizona. He came in, but Samuelson is still out. He's going to probably be out for a little bit longer, they said.
Okay.
But Labushkin came back against Arizona and played.
But Bryson's been playing well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Dahlin.
Dahlin's Dahlin. You know, I mean, he's
Duke is Duke.
Dahlin's really good.
Yeah.
CJ, you were at the big comeback game, right?
Yes.
Or just the high scoring game?
No, they
came back against
the
Penguins.
Yeah. And then the 2 empty netters at the end. It was crazy. It's the last win, right?
Yep.
So you got to go back to another one.
Back.
Yeah. November. Let me think. After Thanksgiving. So sorry, it'll be a little while.
Well, they play Vegas tomorrow. That's who they play next.
They play Vegas tomorrow, and then they have ESPN a home game.
Vegas is a home game.
Oh, cool.
They have a home game on the 12th.
And the 15th.
I know that because the 12th is their Hockey Fights Cancer night.
It's against Boston.
Tomorrow's
game will be on ESPN Plus and
Hulu. Boston.
Yay!
Do you want to talk about the Mitchell?
I don't know enough. I don't mean.
Okay. That's fine.
It's bad.
Terrible move.
Stupid.
They signed him. They cut him. It's over. Bettman. I remember Bettman saying, "I didn't even know he was signable."
Yeah.
Like that's what Bettman said. Like we didn't have him on our list of. Like he wasn't. Like we didn't have him on our list of guys you could sign, or on our list of.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
like he was on indefinite suspension.
But they ended up just cutting him anyway.
Right.
So.
Well, I think Bettman made them do it.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I agree. I think also public pressure made them do it. But all right, what score predictions? I think they're going to be like 30-17.
For the Bills?
Yeah.
Okay, we're back to the Bills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No. All right, we're back to the Bills. 30-17 from Noah. CJ.
Can I give one with Josh and one with Keenum or no?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Keenum, it'd be 24-14 Minnesota. Josh, it'll be 35, 24.
Bills or Minnesota?
Bills
with Josh.
with Josh.
I have it.
Okay.
I just think they're going to lose 28-14.
Damn.
I've been saying Minnesota's a tough game all year.
Yeah.
NFC is nowhere near the legitimacy of the AFC though, and I'll stand behind that.
I agree.
And we'll see. We'll see if they're ready for it.
How do we feel about Jeff Saturday?
I agree with them. I don't know why they made this move. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
Well, again, it's. I mean, you know what it is. I mean, if you don't want to say it, I'll say it. It's the fact that, it's the good old boy. Like I know it's who I know. It's not about what I've done. Fortunately, it sets back. It sets back a lot of black coaches and makes it even harder for them to get jobs, because if this is what's going to continue to get a job, you know what I mean? It's just unfair for minority coaches. But either way, 8 weeks. I mean, I guess, like I said, I think it's more of a fan move. I think the fans will like it for the last 8 weeks. Maybe it can get them to come to a game to see him as the coach.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also Irsay being Jerry Jones, like living out his Jerry Jones moment for a second here.
Well, they're friends, right? And I think I think that can't be understated. Like, I think the comfortability, if that's a word, and you know what I mean? Their relationship is definitely what set this up to happen. It's, that there wasn't much else probably even looked at if he's the choice. It was probably him from the get-go. I mean,
he was fired, and then hours later he was named. So I mean,
is that what it was? Yeah, I didn't even remember. Yeah, exactly. Well, so like without even that knowledge of the time period, I think to myself, like, okay, if this is who you chose, then you must not have had many other candidates in mind. You know what I mean? Because
it's because they named him interim, so they don't have to abide by the Rooney Rule.
Got it. Oh no, right? Yeah, 100%. And that's funny.
So it didn't matter. They could have literally picked anybody they wanted and been like, "Well, he's our interim coach."
Makes sense.
And then he will also. I don't think either that they have to abide by it at the end of the season. Like they won't have to abide by the Rooney Rule either at the end of the season
if they hire him.
Right. Which
only if they hire him.
Right. But the way things are looking and the way things went, I'm pretty sure he's going to get hired. A 3-7 high school coach who coached 1 year.
Well, no, I read his stats and he for some reason I read something. I heard that too, and then I read something the other day that said he coached for 3 years and he had a winning record.
Oh.
So this was just a more recent thing on Yahoo. If you go on Yahoo, look at the news or whatever, they go really into depth into it's a good article just about what this means for the NFL coaches and all that other stuff. So, but I think in that they gave him a little more credit than, but still, 3 years of high school ain't, there's a lot more qualified candidates out there, to say the least.
Well, and then he named like the offensive coordinator, like the QB coach, this like 30-year-old guy who's never called a play in his life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see how they got absolutely destroyed by the Patriots. You're not going to play the Patriots every week. So I mean, I think the rookie plays better down the stretch. If he could win 4 games out of 8, I think he probably stays.
Yeah, I don't think he will.
Right. Well, I don't know either, but
I mean, Taylor can't stay healthy.
Indy was a top 5 defense last year.
Not the best.
Right.
Yeah.
And they hire an Saturday. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Speaking of coaches, the Brooklyn Nets have officially named Jacques Vaughn their head coach.
I was surprised by that because I really did think it would be Udoka, but I have a feeling that the Nets went, maybe we don't want
to
that.
deal. More drama.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with that right now. But I mean, I like Jaguar.
He was a good player.
Yeah, I mean, he's been with the Nets forever
As a coach.
as a coach. So I mean, kind
I
of.
think he was a point guard in Utah behind John Stockton.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of like the move. I kind of like the idea of seeing what he can do.
Yeah. No, he's a smart guy.
Terrible
Yeah.
though. I don't understand it.
Currently up 19-8. Look at that.
I see that. They're 4-7. After starting 0-6, they're 4-7 now.
Yeah.
So
they can get it together. I mean,
Well,
Kyrie
yeah,
just
of
needs to
course.
shut up and do what he needs to do to come back.
yeah. Oh, Jeff Saturday's quote to get him hired was that he cares about the Colts.
Nice.
I care about them.
That's how he impressed the players.
That's how he impressed the players.
I'm sure they were super impressed. I don't know. I don't like the move. I don't even if you're naming him interim head coach. I don't like the move. I don't care. You had Jack Del Rio and
John Fox.
Yeah, John Fox on your staff. Yes, they terrible coaches. Like
they're not though.
They
Neither of them are terrible. They're part of the going back to CJ's point. They're part of the good old boy network, and right now they're in that network of guys who you hire for 2 to 3 years to.
Well, that's what I was saying. You could have just named one of them interim coach and then just waited to the end of the year. But I feel like this was Irsay just being like, I want to hire Jeff Saturday.
Oh, okay.
But oh man, I don't know. I'm nervous about this week, especially if Josh doesn't play. I hope the Sabres can turn it around tomorrow against Vegas. That would be nice.
This was the other thing I was going to say about the Sabres was they're going to do this all year.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Right? I mean, we said this from the
good.
start. Like they're going to go up and down. They're going to have streaks where they win 5 in a row, and everyone thinks they're going to the playoffs. And
when they won the first game, I said they're going to win the Stanley Cup. So
right.
I'm going to stand by that.
But and then they're going to lose 4 in a row, and everyone's going to say, why did they give Adams and Granato extensions and blah blah blah.
Even through this losing streak, though, nobody's been like that. It's just been like
you haven't read Twitter. Then
maybe I'm not reading the right parts of Twitter.
Sabres Twitter is awful. I don't even know.
Well,
Bill's Twitter is acceptable.
Half and half. Some of you out there probably watching right now.
I have paid attention to Bill's Twitter. And you're right. I have blocked plenty of people on Bill's Twitter to get it down to where I want it to be.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford in concussion protocol.
And yeah, it sucks to be the Rams.
Sucks to be the Rams.
Just keeps getting worse.
Bills are no longer the favorites to sign Odell Beckham.
Who are Cowboys?
Cowboys.
Okay.
And then Green Bay. The Bills are 6th on the list.
If Green
tied
Bay,
with Kansas City.
If Green Bay didn't make the move, I don't know. I think it's coming.
I don't know why Green Bay would be
right. If you didn't make the move to bring in Waller, like you couldn't find a deal to bring in Waller,
right?
Why do people think that they're gonna then go out and sign OBJ?
Because there's a difference between the trade and a.
Yeah, but they're out of the playoffs at this point. I think
my
their team
point
is done.
Yeah.
Oh,
isn't he looking for
he's
looking
looking
in the bucket?
He's looking for a place he can call home for 3 to 4 years. That's just a Super Bowl contender during that time, and that's us. So
it's also KC.
It's
not Green Bay.
Speaking of Green Bay, I did see today that there's a rumor going around that the Packers wide receivers room is getting pissed at Aaron Rodgers for blaming them for everything.
He threw them under the bus
when he didn't show up for OTAs and was out the whole offseason.
Oof.
So there's point. they're mad because they're like, you missed the whole offseason, but are blaming us.
He threw them under the bus again, and then on whatever show he was on today, he praised his old coach. He praised Mike McCarthy and said he was blessed during his time with McCarthy.
Just get oh my God. You lost Lil Wayne as a fan. You're tripping out on drugs all the time.
He said his appreciation for McCarthy has grown. We've been in touch a little bit more in the last year or so. Oh, they must have asked him because they're playing Dallas this week. Okay.
Didn't he force McCarthy out?
Yeah, pretty much.
He's such a dick. I'm sorry. I don't like Aaron Rodgers anymore.
Not anymore, no.
Like, I don't know what happened. Well, we know what happened. COVID did, and then he decided that he was a scientist all of a sudden.
Yeah.
He took that, what was that, the erythromycin or whatever, and that
riboflavin.
Yeah, that drug that he was like, well, I can't tell you exactly what they did, and I can't tell you how much of it that I took. Because
still passing the drug tests in the NFL.
Well,
it was the horse tranquilizer one, right?
No, he went. It was his COVID treatment before.
With the immunization, right?
Where he.
What he said. He said, "I'm immunized."
He was talking about how he was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how he was given this like serum, and they wouldn't, and and Joe Rogan tried to ask him what was in it, and he was like, "I'm not gonna give away their secrets." And it's like, bro, you don't even know. You don't even know what you were drinking. Shut up. Like, you don't even know. And then, the homeopathic therapy thing. And then he was like, I was in this room and they had like aroma scents and I was drinking this like liquid and I was tripping out and experiencing the world. And then they said I was fine from COVID. Nope.
That's right. I remember now. He was like,
and that's why he said he was immunized. Or
immunized,
whatever. Immune,
He had immunity.
Yes. And he was like, I wasn't trying to say that I got the shot or that I was like, that I would never get sick. I was just saying, based off what the people said at the homeopathic therapy place that was in the woods in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, he never produced
safe from COVID. That's all I was saying. He never
produced a card. He never produced a. He said in an interview or whatever that he was immunized, and everybody said, okay, well, he's vaccinated.
Right.
And they assumed that he was vaccinated. And obviously, he was not. And they found out. I don't know how they found out that he wasn't vaccinated.
It's because
because of what he said.
It's because the NFL never asked. That's what he said.
That's what he said that too. Yeah.
He said the NFL never asked what it meant, so I just kept playing.
Right. Yep. I signed my card that said I'm immunized. So
like the media just took it and ran with it. It's like, you're Aaron Rodgers. Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Oh, what was I gonna say?
Anything else for us?
Oh, that's what it was. He got tested positive during the season.
Right. And then everybody was like, what the hell?
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute, you're okay.
And then that's when everything came out. But he was on Joe Rogan like a couple months ago and was talking about this.
Yeah,
and Joe Rogan was like trying to ask him questions, like trying to like figure out like what this was, and Rodgers just like wasn't being forthcoming at all. But it also sounded like he had no idea
what it was,
what it even was that was going on. But he was still trying to like sound smart, and like it was like this like ingenious thing that he found, like this like great way to get around having to take the vaccine. Oh, and it's because he said he's allergic to like this very minuscule part of one of the vaccines, so he wouldn't get any of them. Yeah, he was one of the people who was allergic to the Johnson & Johnson, so he wouldn't get the other two.
Yeah. Eli Manning and Fivio Foreign have made a new song together.
Cool.
Fire.
Good for Eli. I'm glad he's doing like fun stuff.
I don't know. Is that fun? Like
I think just making a song is fun.
Fivio Foreign.
Pretty popular.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
He's in New York.
He's going by Eli the Rapper.
That's like Kyle Poso when they were asking everybody
Dad
about the red and black jerseys, and he was like, "What did he say?" He goes, "Cool." And Middlestad and I think like Paterka were standing next to him. Middlestad turns to him and goes, "Cool, really?" And Poso was like, "What do you want me to say?" And he's like, "Nasty" or something. And then he goes, "Nas cool," and then walks away. I was like, he's literally their dad. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. College football rankings. Do we care?
TCU is insane, but whatever.
UB's beating Central Michigan 21-7.
Central Michigan's bad.
UB's not terrible.
No, they're leading their division, I thought.
They were up until last week, I think. When they lost to, or 2 weeks ago, maybe. I don't know.
And
yeah, I thought they won. I thought they beat Ohio last week.
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. It was the game before that.
Okay.
Where they had the same record as the other guy. But I don't know. Whatever.
Okay. No, they're not.
They'll probably still make a bowl, though.
Yeah, as long as they have a winning record.
Yeah.
They'll make the East.
And that'll be good for, they're 5-4 right now. So
East Chick-fil-A.
No, it's going to be like the
Motor, the American,
the lawn
Canadian,
turf, the lawn turf, Alabama, Gasparilla, Gator Bowl.
Well, it won't be in a Gator Bowl. Definitely.
Alligator. No.
Alligator.
Crocodile Bowl.
Crocodile Bowl.
Swamp Bowl.
Yeah. How about Evander Kane?
I saw that he had like some scary injury, but I didn't see like what happened.
His wrist got sliced by the skate.
Oof.
Ow.
He's out 3 to 4 months.
Ooh-wee. It's like my worst fear.
Right?
Eating. My throat or my...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys are probably scarred from watching Clint Malarchuk go like this on live TV.
Yeah.
The more you're like, every time I read about it and how the fact that he would have died if the medical people were on the other side of the ice.
Yeah.
No way. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant Kane. I got you.
No, Malarchuk.
I got you. Yeah. We can see Kane running off to the
also,
side.
Like
screaming.
Yeah.
I think I also read, though, that another part of it, that him grabbing his throat right away also prevented like super severe blood loss, because if he like didn't do that,
that's squirting, dude.
Like just died anyway.
Yeah.
Much more gruesome scene too if he doesn't like cover it right away. Like, and that's like a reaction too, though. Like, you know what I mean? You're just like, oh shit.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, well, that's your fight or flight,
hurts.
Like where, you know,
right.
But some people freeze in that situation. Where they'll just be like, oh,
just fall. It's like,
blood.
Yeah.
Hey, some people are like that.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
All right. Got anything?
I just hope
what about
win. You know?
What about the Georgia Bulldogs?
They deserve it.
I think they deserve number one.
You think they deserve number one?
Yeah. I mean, after
any
Tennessee
Heisman
loss.
Any Heisman former Georgia Bulldogs you wanted to talk about?
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't know if we wanted to talk about the midterms or anything, but yeah, the midterms were yesterday. The Red Tsunami, as Ted Cruz and
predicted.
Republican pundits alike predicted, and pollsters
Fox
predicted.
Fox News
Fox
Sports
News
Center set
literally had a set that looked like
the Super Bowl.
looked like the Fox. It had to be the Fox set. I swear to God, it was the Fox football set. It looked exactly like it, with like the overarching thing with the lights that come down with the screen right behind them. And instead of them standing on the field, they were just sitting on a stage. I'm 100% convinced that Fox News decided to pull out the Fox freaking football stage for this. But yeah,
or
so
maybe they had the same designer.
Yeah, maybe they
doubt
use the
it.
same sets.
Yeah, you doubt it. I bet it was the backup stage.
Yeah, it's definitely not the best one.
Well, Tucker wasn't out there, so
No Tucker.
yeah.
Was he?
He was on the later. Well, he was in the later prime time.
Oh,
More prime. Well, the later, like the 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You know,
Results
when
are coming.
important polls close.
the important stuff.
Yeah, of course, because he has to sprout off about conspiracy theories about voter fraud.
Yeah,
that didn't exist.
Well, you see all the videos on the internet. How can it not exist?
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay. So 3 seats left in the Senate to be called. 1 runoff.
They're leading in Arizona. Kelly's holding that lead, and it's been holding. So I think they're going to get Arizona. So their only
Carrie
chances,
Lake's going to challenge that, though.
She's governor, and she got she already conceded because she got demolished.
Who is that Arizona race? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but and then the Cortez Masto, who decided to come out a few weeks before the election against Biden's student debt relief plan. And then you look at John Fetterman, who won, and like 3 days before the election was like, if you vote me in, I will push Joe Biden to completely eliminate student debt. Shout out to John Fetterman, by the way.
It's Noah's boy.
Huge win.
That was a huge win.
But just not even just that. I mean, there were huge progressive wins across the board last night that really have started to show that, first of all, Republicans went too far. Repealing abortion and going after transgender people and LGBTQ people repeatedly and pushing that narrative that there's crime and that it's because of these people and that the Democrats are forcing your children to become transgender in the schools because they're forcing them to pee in litter boxes. Like, they went too far.
And they're eating their babies and pushing them under pizzas and pedophiles.
I think what you saw, I don't think you saw a total
These
rebuke.
are the real conspiracy theories, CJ. We're not making them up.
I'm not.
That the Clintons own all these pizza
Rogan
places.
on his
them
podcast.
under pizzas.
They're not under pizzas. Under there's like an underground railroad.
Yeah.
Oh, I just heard pushing them under pizzas.
Children.
So like I thought of like hiding, like they're trafficking them, but they're hiding them under the pizzas.
Under
and,
the
like,
pizzas,
giving them,
yeah.
like, these are a little heavy. These are a little heavy.
But
no one will see these kids
so
here.
Sorry. So I think I don't think you saw a total rebuke of Trump, but you saw a rebuke of Trump enough where you now have Fox News saying Ron DeSantis is the head of the party, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, Ron DeSantis won huge, whatever. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But going back to the progressive wins, there were huge Democratic Socialist wins in Delaware. There were huge Democratic Socialist wins in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh actually elected, I believe it was their first Black woman to the House. I believe it was there.
That was Rhode Island.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, huge wins in Pennsylvania. There were huge wins in Delaware. There were huge wins, I think, in like Connecticut.
Vermont.
I mean, they expected
what's her name held in Vermont.
Mm-hmm. But they expected there to be that upper echelon of the
New
U.S.
England.
where there's Maine, right, where all that New England, they expected that to turn red, and that turned blue. But some of those races also turn blue for progressives, and it's great. It's great to see. And obviously, the squad also picked up 3 new members, so that's awesome. But
I love AOC.
I do have to say though that the fact that this is turning out like it did feels like there's like a weight off of my shoulders.
A little bit.
Because I feel like all I expected to be was mad yesterday. And the fact that,
that it was like every result that came in was like relief.
Where you're like, well, I was also sitting there going, what's going on? This wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
And you saw a Democrat, and then, even though the people sorry, Grandma, but Virginia, the people in Virginia, your representatives, not the best. But the fact, though, that Spangberger was able to hold that and able to keep that seat,
especially after being down so early,
right? That she was down pretty big, but
in the important
she
counties.
Apologized to Biden after she won.
Did she?
And I was like, oh, interesting that you're going to put your tail between your legs and apologize to the leader of your party. Speaking of Biden, though, when he was speaking today, he did kind of let on that he might not run in 2024.
Yeah.
He said that he was pressed on it, and he just kept saying he hopes that him and Jill get a week here between Thanksgiving and Christmas where they can sneak away and kind of have some time to think about what's going on, and they'll make a decision early next year.
I think that's
but he also kept kind of saying like, I'm old and don't want to keep doing this. That's what he sounded like. Like he was kind of like, I just want some time with my wife. I want to see the grandkids. I want to get back home before I make this decisions. Ugh. Of course she would.
But if you remember, Bartlett was only going to be 1 term. And Bartlett ended up running for 2.
Here's what I'll say. I don't want Joe.
That was a West Wing joke.
No, I know.
Okay.
But I think it would be, I think it's very smart of Joe Biden to be saying these things right now, because there is a very real concern about his age, and there should be, but also it would be nice to not have an established Democrat voice. Like, they're talking about J.B. Pritzker as a potential candidate. But I mean, Michael Bennett cleaned house in Colorado, and I think he might be able to do better than he did last time.
Yeah.
Where he was just like, I'm the green candidate, and then dropped out a week later.
Right.
But I mean, you have these voices now where it's again, this also was a rebuke to Democratic leadership, because
to the old
guard from the people to say that we want these voices. We want
new voices.
We want our weed legalized. We want our student debt gone. We want free healthcare. We want these things. We want abortion rights. Like, it's just, people have common sense more than I think we give them credit for. And some of these races are stupid. Like, I think it was in Wisconsin, maybe, where, oh no, it was the Georgia race for Herschel Walker, where Kemp did better than he did last year against Stacey Abrams. Also, speaking of Stacey Abrams, let's stop promoting those type of candidates, the type of candidates that guys like Pod Save America and the Obama bros want to put into office, because again, it's showing again that no one gives a crap about established Democrats, about the company line. People want people that are going to say, we're going to fight for them. People want John Fetterman. I mean,
okay, but who did Fetterman campaign with his entire last week?
I'm just saying.
I mean, he had Biden and Obama next to him literally every single day for the last week.
I'm perfectly fine with Obama campaigning because he's a great campaigner, but I'm saying that the type of candidates like Stacey Abrams that are popped up by the MSNBC people, those MSNBC candidates, where they're like, well, they have a good ground game and they'll be able to get it done, and
Right.
they're like pushing for democracy.
Stacey Abrams isn't a good candidate. She's good at running
And
a
organizing.
ground game.
Yeah.
And doing, the organizations, and
because I mean, again, you had your Cortez Masto's losing, Stacey Abrams losing the governorship. There's another Senate seat that flipped.
Right.
Because
no, Fetterman flipped. Or are you talking about the red seat that flipped? I mean, Fetterman flipped soon.
Maybe I'm thinking of a House race, but there were multiple instances throughout the night where you saw the type of Democrat who would come out against the student debt relief, who would come out against those type of things that people want besides abortion, and those people got voted out.
But I will say this: the abortion narrative that I didn't think was going to hold through the election, it held.
Yeah, because I think pollsters and political pundits overcorrected, because all you kept seeing in just around the world on social media, on whatever, was the right-wing narrative. You saw right-wing candidates being out there. I mean, you saw the Herschel Walker debate, and somehow that Warnock-Walker debate made Walker look better, even though he pulled out a fake police badge on stage. CTE riddled dumbass. But anyway, and you saw these things start to stack up. You saw the lead for Fetterman start to slip away. You saw the lead for Hochul start to slip away. And, posters, I think, overcorrected then they didn't take into account that at the end of the day, there are more people in this country who want socialist ideals than don't.
And want people to get along more, I think. This was also a referendum.
They also want people who fight for them, and the people who lost that were the Republicans were Trumpers, that
extremists,
and were super extremists, were election deniers. I mean, Doug Mastriano is a prime example, and he got murdered. Right. I mean, Mastriano got murdered. You could have called that Shapiro vote, went 5% of the vote for him, because I think Shapiro jumped out to a 3,000 vote lead right away. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and then you have Boebert losing her race. You have multiple examples. I mean, Florida is red.
We don't care.
Florida's red. No, Florida's just red now. That's just the way it is. Florida, but Texas races flipped. New York held.
Yeah.
Except for the Maloney race, but Maloney was a sacrificial lamb, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For the rest of them to lose, except AOC. But if you get more people like AOC in office, and because if you go to like AOC's district, they love her because she fights for her district. She is ride or die for that district. She gets them money. She gets them what they need. She's always there. Those are the type of people that need to be in office, in my opinion. You need, and the House. I think that's the election tonight, even for Democrats and Republicans, showed that that's also what people want. They want people who say they'll fight for them, but they don't want the people who are telling us that the transgender teacher is going to make all their kids transgender.
Right. I'm with you.
Good night.
Let's take us home, Noah.
If you made it all the way to the end, we appreciate you for watching. As always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us on Twitter at Gameday716. Make sure to interact with us over there. Yeah, seriously, drop a like if you're still here and you enjoyed it.
You're probably not.
You're probably not, but that's okay. We appreciate you for watching. If you're watching this later, still drop a like, still subscribe. Our YouTube is also Gameday716 if you happen to be watching this on Twitter. And if that's easier for you, go over there. But with that said, as always, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.
Stay sunny, Buffalo.
R.I.P. Aaron Carter.